Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Faith Flaws y Mas. I'm Sylvia,
I'm Laura.
Priscilla.
Ashley.
and this episode is going to be about building a Christian relationship with your partner or spouse. Um, we all are in relationships that did not start in a Christian foundation, I don't think. Well,
No.
Ashley, did you? I don't remember. I don't know much of y'all's early stuff.
So I grew up in the church, and Ray would when we were 16, he would go to church with me. So at the time it was just like Spanish church. He didn't understand any English, but he would still go. So that's kind of where the Christian aspect of it started. And we kind of stayed there, but we didn't live like the lifestyle of, we weren't acting as Christians.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know much of y'all's early childhood, early stages of.
Well, I was born August 17th.
No, but yeah, I got married in the Christian church. Well, before me and Milton got married, we actually had to accept Jesus as our Lord and Savior before the pastor married us. So we did that, and we got married in the Christian church, but we never practiced it. We didn't continue going to church. We never had the values in our marriage until recently. But yeah, no, we did.
No, we didn't either. I would go to Catholic church, but we were not dedicated, and I was not getting filled. Every time we went to the Catholic church, I was still empty when I left because
Yeah, and I think that's how Ray felt. So that's why he would sometimes tag along with me, because he would feel something.
Yeah.
He felt something different there. So
even though it was in Spanish.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Our friends would, when my friends would talk to him, and there would be so you could wear this earpiece.
Oh, okay.
Where they would kind of translate. So he would wear that sometimes. They wouldn't do it all the time, but he would wear it sometimes. I'll just be telling him oh, they're saying this and they're saying this. And I think he could just feel the presence of God in our church. Yeah. So I think that was really important for him.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Power of Jesus.
Yeah.
It's real.
You don't even know what they're saying, but he said, I know God is in this place.
He felt it.
Yeah, he felt it. We didn't really start living trying to live a fully Christian lifestyle till 2020. We kind of both started going
for real
religiously every Sunday around the same time.
Yeah, I think it was 2022, because 2020 I know we were watching online. 2021 we were still let's just
I
stay
think it
home.
started late of 2021.
Probably. And then I know for sure 2022 we went back to church, and then then we did re-engage, and then we got into a life group and got connected and everything, and then that's when
I know the church, Pastor Josh says, if you want to see a difference in your marriage and your family, to give the church a year. Give God, not just the church, God a year. Your full year, commit to go to church every Sunday. Try not to miss it. Reading your word, there's a lot that goes to it, but just do it for a year and just see how much your life can change. And I feel like we did that, and our life completely changed. As opposed to when we were hey, you want to go to church this Sunday? And we were yeah, or no, let's just stay home. We'll go 2 weeks later, a month later, we're going to church. It's just not fulfilling. We weren't reading the Bible. And then once we made that commitment with God and brought our family in there, I think that's when we started really seeing a change. Once you let God into your life, into your marriage, into raising your children, that's when you're really going to see a difference. So I think it changed me and Ray's relationship, our marriage. It's they say, same spouse, new marriage. That really is what happened with me and Ray. Completely new marriage. Our relationship is so different, and
I never heard that before, but that's true.
Yeah, so I was
I agree with that,
because we're definitely not where we used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in a relationship, you can not, I don't want to say lose feelings, but you can fall out of love sometimes. And I can say that's happened to me and Ray. Well, I can't speak for Ray, but I can say for me, I have, and you kind of have to learn to, when you grow up, especially being high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
you're growing up together and you
Mhm.
have to learn each other. Like we're changing. And I saw you as a teenager, and now I'm seeing you as a grown man. Like throughout those stages, you have to learn how to love that person differently, right? And I don't know who it was. I think in the Bible it says like your heart
It's deceitful.
yeah, it's deceitful. And so what when that happens, I don't think I'm
Yeah.
in love with him anymore. But your heart lies to you.
Yeah.
Mm.
So like
So
when they say follow your heart, that's
yeah,
not good
like
advice.
don't always follow your heart. Like follow God, really.
Yeah.
His plan for you. And I think if it wasn't for devoting our life to God, he wouldn't have renewed our marriage, and me and Ray wouldn't be where we are right now. So I'm so grateful, and I just encourage anyone if anyone's struggling with their marriage or thinking about getting a divorce, just give church and God a full year, and which that can be difficult, right? Because
Yeah.
if your spouse doesn't want to go, but even then, like you go to
Yes.
church, you take your kids, and you
Yeah.
go pray for your wife or you go pray for your husband, that God will bring them to the church.
Mm-hmm.
You
And I
know?
think that's a big thing. I think whenever I started going to church, you guys had invited Laura, and I had told Laura, "I'll go with you, Laura, so you won't go by yourself
Mm-hmm.
or whatever."
I
And
remember
then,
that.
yeah, I was like, "I'll go with you, so you won't go by yourself." And I remember that morning getting ready for church,
Oh yeah.
and then he was like, "Are you really going to church right now?" Oh, forget me, you know, kind of because he was just like, "What am I gonna do?" or whatever. And so then he decided to come, and then Jake decided to go too, and then like it started happening, and then I think like the next time he was like, "Are you gonna go again?" I was like, "Yes, I'm gonna keep going." But
They have it
then
every Sunday
that
for
was
some
like at the
reason.
beginning. Yeah, that was like at the beginning. It was like a February time whenever I started doing that. February or March,
Yeah.
whenever we
Mhm.
started doing that. And then by summertime, I remember I had taken Bella to, I didn't go to church on Sunday because I had to take Bella to a summer camp.
Mm.
And then he went by himself.
He did with the kids.
This
Wow.
was 2023,
Yeah.
right? Last year?
No, 22.
22?
I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think y'all were like 21,
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
22. And then he went by himself.
You're right. It was
So we
2021.
started going
Because we started
2021?
re-engaged 2022, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it was
So we
20
started going to like you said at the end of 2021, then
Mhm.
for real 2022. You guys started too on 2022,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's going on 2 years.
yeah. And then he went by himself. And that's why I was kind of like, oh, okay, like he went by himself.
Yeah.
And I'm over here telling his sister, he went by church by
He went
himself.
to church.
She's like, wow, that's so good. You know, but like when we both started like listening, because it still took some time after that. It wasn't like right then. It was
Right.
just more like we were like, okay,
Scoping it out.
okay, you know, like
seeing what
we're
this
seeing,
is about.
yes, like we need this for our family. Like, you know, our children need to be in something like this. Like we needed to do that. During that time, I feel like we were arguing a lot,
Mm-hmm.
more like whatever, like whatever you do, whatever you want to do, whatever, you know, type stuff. And then I feel like during that time, whenever we started going that, and it wasn't really until we did the marriage thing with Tony Evans.
Was it marriage night?
Marriage night, yeah,
Mm.
marriage night, and Tony Evans was there, and Tony Evans explained marriage as a covenant, and like he literally said like, this is how marriage
Yeah.
is supposed to be, and blah 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 blah. It wasn't until then I think we both were like, oh, okay, no, we gonna be down for each other.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
me and you,
You
we
saw
gotta,
like y'all were equal.
yes, like
Mhm.
me and you, we're a team. We gotta be together. We gotta like have each other's back. We gotta, you know,
Yeah.
be one, like truly be one, not like whatever, you know,
Yes.
do it everyone. Not that we were like rude or disrespectful to each other all the time, but like more like I'm gonna do me, you gonna do you.
Yeah.
Um,
There's like no unity, maybe.
yes, like it was at that point that we were like, okay. But also I feel like before then we had like gone through something as a family together where we saw like God come in and
Mhm.
change it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we were like, no, this is something that we need to
Do.
do.
Yeah.
Like we know this is real. We feel it. We've seen it. Let's continue. But yeah, it was at that point whenever we went to the marriage night and we did that, I was like, wow, like that was, you know, like that was because he had asked us to pray over each other.
Mm.
And I had never prayed over him.
Yeah.
Never. Like I had never put my hand over him. I had never like said it to him. Like,
I don't think I did either.
yeah,
It
like,
felt weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
it did feel
I was
weird. Like,
Which
But like
you
we were
want me to
actually
pray
having
out loud.
no, but we
I
actually
can't.
had to pray to them like
Yeah,
like
in
in
their
their
like
ear. Yeah, like I was over here like, we're just thinking about things to say.
dear
Oh.
Jesus,
Amen. Bless
save
him,
this
amen.
man.
Save this man.
But yeah, like that. I think at that point I was all like, okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, like I don't know, things just got better.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that we like have each other's back. Like when it comes to the kids, if the kids do something disrespectful to me, he's like, hey, no, this is your mom. Don't talk to her like this. This is this and that. Like we're together as a team, you know?
Mhm.
Sometimes I lack in that. Like sometimes I'm saying he's better than me. Because sometimes I lack in that. Sometimes I'd be like, whatever, let the kids do things.
Yeah.
And I think it's not that I want to ignore them. To me, it's just like, okay, they're kids. They're going to mess up, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's okay though. Like
correcting.
some things he's gonna be better at, and some things you're gonna be better at. You know.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, I think he's better at that.
don't be
At
hard on yourself.
parenting. At
But that
parenting.
changed my perspective too, because I always I always knew divorce. There was like a door I could get out from this thing. Like I could just
Oh, okay.
get divorced. You know, like
You can leave if you want to.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like he was
if-
always there. It was
yeah,
always an
I had
option.
this door open. Like I can go through that door whenever I want. You know, like if something goes wrong, boom, there's a door there. Like I can just take that door. Yeah, divorce. But I think also it's because like my parents were together for so long, and I thought they were going to be together forever. You know, and they got divorced. You know, so it's like so in my mind it's like, well, that could happen. You know,
Right.
in my mind, like nothing is forever.
Mm.
You know, or that's how I used to think. I was like, this don't have to be forever. This could just be I don't know if this is gonna end. This might end, and we might end up divorced one day. Like that was always in the back of my mind. Like, especially we would argue all the time, you know. And he was an alcoholic, you know. And I saw similarities in our marriage that I saw in my parents' marriage, you know. So that was like oh well, your parents, you know, they were experiencing these things and they got divorced. So the devil's like, you're experiencing the same thing. You might get divorced too one day, you know? So in my mind, I always thought like, this isn't enough for everything, you know, like, or it could be, or it could not, you know, but maybe it probably not because you've seen this happen already, you know? So, but after I learned like God put us together for a reason, like he knew who we were going to marry. He allowed us to get married. So he wants us to be married and he wants us to work on this marriage. Divorce is off the table is what I learned in Reengage, you know, like that I had to shut that door. I shut that door and Reengage, you know, because they made us talk about what are the doors that you have open, you know, and that was my big door. So I had to shut that door. And how you said it's a covenant, you know, and it's like we're not going to feel in love every single day, every year, like every 5 years. Like, you know, you're not going to feel in love like that first, when y'all first get together. You think you feel in love, you know, but loving someone is a choice and a decision you have to make. It's not a feeling.
Yeah.
Like love is not going to be a feeling. So we have to choose to love them every day, you know, and we have to choose. We're not getting divorced. Like this is us. Like you said, we have to be one. We're going to have to work this out, however it is, but you don't stop working on your marriage, you know?
Right.
But yeah, that was a big thing to me, the covenant. And yeah, like shutting that divorce door.
Yeah.
I think
in
this
ours.
generation, it's all about divorce. Like people are just getting married, getting divorced, getting married, getting divorced, and it's so easy for like no, like work at it, try. And that's not to say like of course there's abuse and things like that, like okay, but if you think that it's fixable, your marriage, and just try to go through the steps of fixing your marriage, working on your marriage, and not just giving up like, oh, this isn't working out for me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't feel in love with you anymore. Like next, like no.
Yeah. I also feel we have to like understand each other, each person, like your husband, the wife and the man, or like the girlfriend and boyfriend, they all were shown a different type of marriage when they were growing up. Like they were raised differently than you were. No one was raised the same, right? You were raised with different values, and then you were raised in different households where either your parents were together or your parents weren't together. And I think we have to like break those stigmas when you get together and try to like be like, no, like just because I saw this growing up, because like we're different, we were raised differently, though both our parents are still together, it was different. And so like sometimes I would see things earlier in our marriage, and I was like, my dad never did that, or like
Mm.
I never saw my parents do this, and I would like tell that to like, oh, my mom and dad always did this, that. And he's like, my parents did it,
Mhm.
you know. And I think we had to like come to an understanding, like, well, this is the right way to do it.
Yeah. How
Like,
y'all want it to be in your
yes,
relationship.
yeah, like this is the right way to do it. Because if we would have kept that, like if I would have kept saying like, well, I don't want that, like I'm gonna find somebody who does it the way my dad does it, or
Yeah.
you know, do this the way my parents did it, then we would have never made it work. We would have just felt
Mhm.
like, well, we wanted to do what we felt to do, not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the right thing to do. But I think that's hard too, like coming to that understanding that you both were raised
Yeah.
differently. You both come
Yeah.
from different households.
so
Like
true.
try to find that common
Yeah.
ground.
With my parents, they actually got a divorce, and then they got remarried a
That's
few
right.
years later.
Mhm.
But with them, it was their arguments would be like explosive arguments. Like it was a whole thing. Cops were involved, and
Oh wow.
like my parents leaving, and we'd like, who are you gonna go with, your mom or your dad? And I'm like, oh, I love you both. I don't want to go with, I just want to be with both of y'all. And when I was younger in our relationship, I feel like that's how I would react. Like I would like go 0 to 100. Like that was like, if I'm gonna get mad, that's how I'm gonna get mad. And I had to like learn, like, no, you can't react that way. And with him, he was more calm. He would barely see his parents argue, and which is great, right? But at the same time, if you're not seeing your parents argue, then you're not opening up, you're not speaking, you're not vocalizing what you're going through, what
You're not
maybe
seeing a resolution.
yeah,
There's not
or
good
like he's not gonna
communication.
be open with me on what I'm doing wrong, what that's bothering him. He's just gonna be like,
I'm just not
um,
gonna say anything because I
Following.
don't want to
yeah,
argue.
like just listen to me and what my problem is with him, but he's not gonna tell me what's wrong with him, right? So that's something we had to like unlearn to communicate better. Me communicate better, and him communicate completely. Like, let me know what you're feeling. Let me know how you would like me to change. I for sure think number one thing I think is communication. Like communication in your marriage is so important. Like that is after God, like you need to be communicating how you're feeling, how what am I doing something wrong? Like because if you're not telling me, how can I fix it? But also creating a safe space with
For the other person too,
for
like
your partner to like if I'm not giving you a safe space, then you're never gonna feel comfortable communicating with me. Like so Ray tells me something and I'm like, how dare you tell me that I'm then we're never gonna be talking,
Mhm.
right? So
because they know how you're gonna react, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to think about our reactions too.
But how do you
Um,
take criticism then? Like, because I think like
Well-
in the marriage that's hard. Because like if let's say your spouse tells you something that they didn't like you did,
mhm.
but you're like,
what you mean?
yeah, like how do you like? Because I know I react like that. Because there's certain times where like he would say things to me like,
Okay.
well, I literally told you this and you didn't even say anything to me, or you didn't even respond to me, or like, oh gee, thanks, don't you didn't, you know? And it's not that I didn't. It's
You
not
have
that
to
I
put
didn't.
your pride aside.
Yeah, and it's not that I didn't care.
I
It's
have the
just that to
answer.
me, I'm all like,
I have the answer.
okay, I'm listening. You know, I'm like, okay, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. You know.
This is how you do it. You ready? Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God.
Yeah.
100%.
So we need to honestly be quiet.
Yeah.
Listen.
But also I tell Noel too, like, it's the way you tell me.
Mhm.
Like,
His tone.
yeah, like don't come at me with eyebrows all like this and like yelling at me, you know, like
Send the emoji.
I need you to send the emoji. Yeah.
I need hearts.
Yeah.
I don't need capital letters. I need heart emojis, heart eyes. Like, you know, like but yeah, because if I'm gonna be a safe place, I need you to be a safe place too.
Mhm.
And when you tell me these things, if you want me to react in a graceful way, I think they need to be told to me in a graceful way, you know, like instead of because I think a lot of people have trouble with like talking with a person rather than like talking at them, like you know, like it's and like that would be our issue sometimes. It's like I would say like don't talk to me like you're my dad, Like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
don't talk at me. Like
I've
you're
seen
like
things like that
telling
before.
me.
That's what I told Rain. Don't talk to me like I'm like you're my manager or
Yeah.
something. Like
You know, I'm like, I need you to talk, just talk to me, you know,
Yeah.
tell me, hey, babe, the other day when you said this, like, it made me feel like this, you know, like, and if you come at me like that, then, and if I blow up, then that's on me. That's
Yeah.
my
Right.
fault, you know, and I'm going to have to apologize for that. But it's a better chance that you're going to react in a better way because of how the information was told to you, you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think also all we can do is control ourselves. So I guess if he did talk at me, the first thing I would be like, remember, you would have to be the person to give grace, you know, and just say like, you know, how you say like, remember, please don't talk at me. Like, just talk to me if that felt like you were like
Talking
trying,
at me.
talking to me like you my daddy again. Like, let's tone it down a little bit.
You ain't I have said that I've said my dad's name, like you're not Mongoosman. You're not JPZ. That's what we call him. Like you're not, don't talk to me like
I'll
that.
be like, I got a daddy and you ain't him.
You know, Re-engage, they teach us about staying in your circle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like remembering to focus on yourself. Like, what can I change? What can I fix about myself? What am I doing wrong? And not constantly focus on the other person. Like, or you're doing this and you're doing this and you're speaking to me this way and you didn't do this or you, whatever. Focus on like, okay, how am I speaking to them? How am I receiving this? What am I doing? What can I do better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like
a big one.
even like problems in your marriage, like it's not all one person. Like you had a part to play. Like you need to reflect on what did you do. Like even if somebody like we heard about somebody that the lady cheated on her husband, right? And she had to realize like, well, yeah, like the part she played was she wasn't there for him. She wasn't there emotionally for him. Or him, I think he's the one that thought about like so was self reflecting and like realized like
What could he have done differently?
the part that he played in that, and yeah, what he could have done differently, and it wasn't all her, like of course she cheated, but it's like we all have a part that we play in these conflicts, like yeah, like the way we react. Are we even being a safe place for this person to come to you? Because if you're not, the devil's going to tempt them with somebody else at work, like on the social media.
This person's listening to you.
Yeah, so like, yeah, communication's big, and the safe place, like being each other's safe place.
Yeah,
DMs.
the DMs.
Not the
Yeah,
DMs.
They go
girl,
down
the
in the DMs. I
going
heard.
down.
Sorry, my bad.
No,
But
but
You're about
yeah.
to start dancing.
I was. And
Yeah.
I think grace is a big, like how you said, realizing that they were like we both have seen different things growing up. And it's like giving the other person grace because like, dang, they didn't have or for me at least, it's like, man, he didn't, how can I expect him to be just the man and husband and dad that I think he should be when he didn't have that example growing up, So I was like, I got to give him grace on that. And then sometimes I got to give my grace to myself because I'm like, well, dang, I didn't have a perfect example either. And I'm trying to figure this out from scratch,
Yeah.
with God, of course. But it's like, gotta give yourself grace too sometimes. Like we're doing this for the first time, like in this family, like, like we're trying to break this generational been haunting our family for years. Like,
Yeah.
of course it's hard. Of course you're gonna lose it sometimes. Of course you're gonna fall off sometimes. Give yourself grace too, But
I think the safe space works too for your kids. So like if you're not being a safe space for your kids and you're like quickly reacting, like you get angry for everything they tell you, then they're never going to tell you anything. So I think it can work both ways.
That's true because sometimes Bella would tell Milton things before she tells me, but it's because he listens and he like not gets at her level, but like he, he'll listen to her, and then like for me, I'll be like, I'll react.
yeah.
And sometimes she tells him things that are not that serious, but like when I find out, oh yeah, Bella told me this, and that, I'd be like, why did she tell me?
Yeah.
Or like, like why did she go? Because I feel like, oh, I'm the mom.
Yeah.
She's the daughter. The daughter should go to the mom. But like, she felt more comfortable going to him. And it's like, well, Probably because I don't know how to shut my mouth.
Yeah.
Because I'm always like quick to like,
Quick to
well, what
react
did you do? Or all
Yeah.
this stuff, or react.
instead of just listening.
But I do that too in my marriage because sometimes he'll try to tell me stuff, and then like I react. I like, what does he say? What's the word?
You're talking about something else.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
I'll bring up something he did, like
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of
Mhm.
instead of
Instead
yeah, like but you did this,
yeah,
like but you said this, and he's like, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Yeah.
this. And I'm like, I try to turn it around.
yeah,
Like I do that. I do that, and it's hard because I don't see it. Like like because you're. And then like he's like, did you? I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I did it. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. And it's like when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I did do that. I did say that. I did say that. But then again, me, I don't apologize for nothing.
Mhm.
I'm very bad at apologizing.
Maybe that's one thing you work on.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I think to build a godly relationship with your spouse, I think also like how you said how we prayed for our
Mhm.
husbands and at that marriage night. I think that's another important thing. What was the first thing we said? I know we said communication.
Communication.
Safe space.
Safe space. Pray for them. Also, I guess like understanding that where they come from too.
Grace.
Like giving them grace.
Yeah, so I think prayer is very important too.
Praying together.
Praying together.
That's a big one.
Praying together.
Praying over each other.
Like even if sometimes you don't feel like having anybody pray for you because you're just in a bad mood, and like you're like, God might tell you, for me at least, I know he's told me sometimes like, I was gonna pray for you. I'm like, I want him to pray for me, like forget him right now, like and then I'm like, can you pray for me?
Is that how you
He'd
say
be
it?
like, huh? What you
I'm
say?
like, can you pray for me? And then because it's like, and then the situation can get better
Yeah.
like instantly, but
We're
we
just
want to be
hard-headed
so
sometimes.
stubborn and
Yeah.
prideful and hard-headed, and we don't want to ask for that prayer. But they're like our husband, like marriage is so powerful. It could be so powerful
Yeah.
if you both act as one and follow God and obey his commands, obey what he tells us to do. And when he tells us to pray for each other, we need to do it, and because like Noel's prayers, like if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling nervous, scared, stressed, weak, sick, nauseous, like if I
My
got a
head
headache,
hurting.
like if I
Me
ask
and
him
you
to
live
pray,
in the same house. Like something's always wrong with
Hungry.
hungry, ain't got no food.
Ray, I have this pain on my side and I Googled it. And
It's not looking
It's not
good.
looking good. Can you pray for me?
Yeah, but it's like you go to your husband and have him pray for you. Like I feel like for some reason, like a man's prayers, especially your husband's prayers,
So
are so
true.
powerful, and I just think they're powerful. And then sometimes he'll pray for me. Honestly, every time it's not like it gets 100%, but I feel better. Like the anxiety has gone down. Even a wife's prayers, like a mother's prayers, a mother's prayer for her children, a wife's prayers for her husband. I think those are powerful too, because especially when the husband and wife are on the same page and they're both like godly spouses, I feel like those prayers are just powerful. And I can pray, like sometimes the Holy Spirit would just, I'm not even a big prayer. Like I don't even like to pray like out loud or like in front of people or for everybody, but like at home, like this Holy Spirit just fills me sometimes, and I can just pray like for him, for his specific needs and the things that he needs at that moment and stuff like that. And I don't know, prayer is just, honestly, every time you feel better, like, or it makes things better.
Yeah, it's very true.
So I think prayer is a big thing. It's very important to do to have that godly marriage.
Yeah, I've messed up prayers before. I bet we'll probably be laying in bed and then like he has me in like a chokehold type position, and I'm like, I'm trying to go to sleep, trying to go away, and then I move. He's like, I was just praying for you, and I'm like, oh, sorry.
You messed up the moment.
I know. I'm like, sorry.
My hair.
Literally, I'm like, I'm just trying to roll over, go get in my little position, go to sleep.
Fetal position.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm too tired, and Ray will be like, I'll just pray for you. He'll be like, say in the prayer, and I'm like half asleep.
And then, of course, that trickles down to the kids. Like they see mommy and daddy praying, even worshiping together, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Like we just took the kids this past Sunday with us to the church, actual inside, and it made me realize, like, dang, we need to start doing this at least like once a
Mm.
month
Mhm.
or every couple months, you know, because I think they need to see us with our hands raised and singing
Mm.
Yeah,
and
so true.
stuff like that, you know, because the kids, it's good for them to go to their class, but they're not seeing them what their mom and dad are doing in the
This
church, like least worshiping, you know.
it just reminded me. Sometimes he also will ask me. She will ask us, "What did y'all do in your church?" You know, like he likes to talk, so he'll tell me everything they did, and then he's all like, "What did you do at your church, mommy? What did you do?" I'm like, "Nothing. We just
Listen
listened
to a
to. We're just
sermon.
listening." He's like, "But what did you do?" And I'm all like, "Nothing." But I didn't just do nothing.
Yeah.
I actually did do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
It also touched me because I saw Elijah with one of the songs. He had both his hands up, you know,
Oh,
and that just makes you be. We didn't tell him to do it, right? It's like you don't tell, like you didn't
Yeah.
tell the kids to pray for you. They just did, you know, like, and we didn't
Yeah.
tell him to do that. He just did it because he sees his dad doing it.
Yeah.
He
yeah,
sees me doing it, you know.
Also, everyone in
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
service, you know.
and it just like reminded me, like, they really are doing everything. They're gonna do everything we do.
yeah,
They're looking. They're
Mhm.
being influenced by us. Like, first
yeah.
of all, like before they go to school, like we can be the first ones to influence them at home. So that was a good little reminder right there too.
This
They
week's
soak
sermon
up
was
everything.
about
Hmm.
respecting your parents or something. And I was telling Emmy, I was like, "Are you listening to what he's saying?" He said, "Respect your mom, respect your dad." Yes, mom, I hear that. I was like, "Good thing you hear him, because
Don't you talk about my
okay, you're right." She's
No,
gonna
but
hear
yes.
the podcast like, "Mom, why were you talking about me?"
No, but yeah, I think building a strong relationship with your partner under the word, it makes a big difference in
Yeah.
everything. Even like in the way you move around in the day, like you just feel more confident too at work. Like you just feel more confident when you speak about your relationship, when you speak about your family, because you're like, no, I have a man at home who loves me, who loves his family, who takes care, who is going to protect me no matter
Yeah.
what. Like
A man of God.
a man,
Yeah.
yeah, like you just feel more confident too in your relationship, and you feel like,
No, like it's less drama. Like,
yes,
you know, like, yeah,
and then you're
like
all
some,
like, thank you, Jesus.
but I feel like just like I said, like God just redeems, He restores, you know, like you can go from a marriage, like how I described me and Noel's marriage yesterday at our group. I was like, it's like they went from dark and like God's put the light switch up and it went to light, you know?
Mm.
It's like when I think about like our old in our beginning, when I think about it, it's like the days are just dark. Like it's just a
Yeah.
dark time.
Like there was no happiness.
Yeah, it was just we were just going through, like we're just living day to day.
With emotion.
You know, I was not a single mom, but I felt like it sometimes. Even I was, and one of the sermons, somebody said something. They were like, you can feel alone, but be married.
Yeah.
You can be married and still feel alone. And I was like, dang, like that's how I felt for a while.
I think it's really common for people to feel like that because
Mhm.
I know I have felt like that alone, like with Ray, like kind of like living like roommates. That's I feel like for a long time we were living like roommates, or like, oh hey, you're home from work, or go to sleep, like wake up, and
Yeah.
I'm like the what is it called, the default parent, and which is okay, right? Because someone has to be, I think. I mean, do you
Yeah.
agree? Someone has to be the default parent, the parent that's always with the kids, right? But at that time, we were not on the same page.
Mm.
It was not like how we are now, and I think it's so common for so many couples to live like that and not be happy and just be like, oh hey, and that's how it trickles down to like, we're not in love anymore, and then heads to divorce and.
But and I also think that once y'all get to that point, to that whenever y'all start living as one, and then like having each other's back, and then like putting you guys, God first, and then you guys, your spouse, and then your children, it makes a big difference. But it also, I feel like it builds like a stronger intimacy too, like with you, your husband, like.
It's
I don't
just
know.
it's a different type of intimacy.
It is.
Like
It really
you
is.
want to be around your partner. You want to be
Yes.
like even intimate and like
Yeah.
just love on them, show them affection and just
yeah.
appreciative.
I think like there's like this deeper respect you get for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least for me, because I know I didn't used to respect Noel. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't used to respect him. Like because I'd be like, you gonna disrespect me? I'm gonna disrespect you. Like
Yeah.
worse, you know. And it's like you gotta earn my respect. I'm just not gonna pop up here and just respect you out of the blue when you're like doing this. You're like getting drunk every single weekend, and I'm having to take care of our kid. You know, and you're
Yeah.
like you're kind of like leaving. You're just doing what you want to do. Like I don't respect that. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I didn't respect him for
Yeah.
years, and then I just realized in when we started going to church, I was like, dang. I realized that I still needed to respect him, because that's what God wants us to do, like in our marriages. But I feel like I actually started to respect him after he started walking with God,
Mm.
you know, because I was like he deserves my respect. Like I don't know. It's like I see him in a different way. Like
Yeah.
You
you're
wanna be
changing your
around him.
life, like
Mhm.
for God. Like wow, like that's bold. That's courageous. That's brave. Like that's a man. You know?
Yeah.
It's like yeah. It's like, and it's like you love them like deeper.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you know.
You just get more like it gets
It's
intense. Like you're
yeah.
like,
It's like wow. Like you are being a man. You're being a godly man. Like you're being a godly husband. You're being a godly father. Like even
Mhm.
though you're not the perfect, you know, whatever. He's not perfect, man, but he is trying. And that
Mhm.
effort is like huge because some people, I know there's some men that are not putting in any effort,
yeah,
or they could care less about going to church. They could care less about reading the Bible. They could care less about being a godly husband. Like it's all about them, you know, like,
or being the leader to their home.
yeah, or like, oh, I work.
That's enough.
Yeah, like that should be enough. You take care of the kids. Like that's your job.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like once he started walking with God and living like a God, like trying to be a godly man and husband, father, I could respect that. I'm like,
Mhm.
I gotta respect you. Like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, I love you more now. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. Like, just and then also like their actions change.
yeah.
The things that the way they talk, the way they act towards things change, and so that you're all like,
You're seeing
oh.
these changes.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
the
Like, I
heck?
gotta honor you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
tall, dark, and handsome. I see you.
Now
then
you,
it, like, makes
now
you
you can
wanna-
tell me what to do. I'll
Yeah.
listen to you.
Then it makes you want to be a better wife.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it made me want to, like, dang, I want to cook you dinner now. Like, you deserve it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you a hard worker. Come on, I'll make you some dinner. What you want? Or like whatever. Like,
I'll make the tortillas.
yeah, I guess I'll make you
I'll
some tortillas
Bake
today.
you some cookies.
Yeah. It's like I want to be a good mom
Yeah.
to our kids. I want to be a good wife. I want to be your friend. I want to go have a good time, just me and you. Like, let's go on a date or something. You know?
Yeah.
Like, now that I know that you're not gonna
Go
fall
overboard.
back, or
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
you're not the old person you used to be.
Yeah.
Like this is a new person. You know?
Same spouse, new marriage.
Yes.
Same spouse, new marriage.
Yeah. So I want to experience this new guy. You know, this new and improved husband here.
My new husband.
Yeah.
This is Elijah.
Yeah. Elijah.
Not Noe.
Yeah.
Not Noe.